Hello, Neil.
Shalom, morning.
Welcome to a weekly update, and today we're going to address three main topics. Number one, we'll speak about Israel's retaliation to the attack from Iran about 2 weeks ago. We're going to speak about the Holocaust. Today is the Israeli National Memorial Day for the martyrs of the Holocaust, and we'll speak about the preparations for what looks to be the last act of the conflict with Hamas, and that's the Israeli offensive on Rafah. Neil, let's speak about the retaliation to the Iranian attack.
I think that what seems to be a very minor Israeli retaliation was an amazingly smart. Israel only sent a few missiles in contra to the hundreds of missiles sent from Iran, but they hit exact target that we intended them to hit, which was the anti-missiles, anti-aircraft system that the Iranians had protecting their nuclear reactor. And we basically made very clear that they are vulnerable, that their anti-missile aircraft defense is very vulnerable to our ability. So it made very minor sound around the world, but I think that the message to the Iranian was as clear as can be.
Well, there's only one problem with that. You need to be an expert to understand how effective was our retaliation. Speaking about the public expected something more spectacular. So some kind of bittersweet feelings among the Israelis, including some cabinet ministers that made the comments about it. We never took responsibility officially to the retaliation.
Except for one Israeli cabinet minister who is extremely brainless.
Yes.
And she made a comment about we wouldn't...
Yeah, again, but at least officially, all right? So again, maybe it was indeed what needed to be done. But the way that the Iranian media addressed it was really mocking Israel's capabilities. I guess they know exactly what hit them, and maybe that was a message, but in this world, appearance is so important also, and if it wasn't something like a big flame of fire, a big explosion, maybe it didn't make the right impression on the Iranian public, maybe on the government. But again, clever or not clever, time will tell.
You know my opinion.
Which is?
My opinion was that in October 8th, Israel should drop the weapon we don't have directly on the Iranian side of developing nuclear weapon and send a very clear message that this is the head of the snake and we would cut it.
Well, I wish that our Prime Minister would consult with you. I'm sure that you can give me some smart advices. So this would be something that the Israeli public had a hard time to accept because we were waiting for something more spectacular. But as we hear from experts, it was exactly what was needed to deliver that certain message. It looks like things quiet down now. Yeah. Iran prefers to keep working through the proxies. And we'll see the next time we take an Iranian asset, what will be their retaliation, because this is a totally different level of conflict that we never had before, especially with Iran. So time will tell how clever that was.
We are commemorating on this day, the Israeli day that we commemorate the Holocaust. And it's a very special day in Israel. Lots of the disappearing Holocaust survivors are still sending their stories and messages on. And it's a very special day, especially today with the events of October 7. And with the fact that there is an amazing rage of anti-Semitism that goes around the world, which is all based on total ignorance of people who keep yelling at the lawn of universities, we support Palestine, and those are the same liberals who don't really understand that they are the subject of the Palestinian terrorism.
Yeah, well, from my perspective, too many people in Israel are making the linkage between the Holocaust and October 7th. And I can understand that kind of sentiment, especially for people who are Holocaust survivors and once again had to hide in their rooms and closets in their homes because their lives were in danger when Israel had such a strong presence and army in the region. I can understand that sentiment. I would disagree, historically at least, except for one thing. Just like we have too many Holocaust deniers, we have too many October 7th deniers as well. And you hear that from all around the world that Israel is lying, it never really happened. Well, I guess you cannot convince an idiot, somebody who is so much against you, especially today with AI, that everything can be actually be fake, and you cannot really tell what's right and what's wrong. And this is one of the problems. How you make a case which is reliable, and how can you prove anything when many people come to the table with a pre-judgment and with a pre-ideas about Israel, always lying. This is something which we have to fight with everything that we can. To deny the Holocaust is one thing, to deny October 7th is the other thing, but it all comes from the same roots of deep anti-Semitism. Nobody will deny, nobody will reject or even question some footage coming from other parts of the world. Only when it involves Israel. And the way that we behave and respond is always those claims of fake news and using AI. AI is going to be the next big problem of everybody. What's right and what's wrong? And how can you trust anything? So this will be my take on that linkage that many people make between the Holocaust and October 7th of 2023.
Part of it is what I believe is the very bad Israeli government in the last few years who have failed to do the Israel presentation, representation, explanation, public opinion effect around the world. They just failed to do it. But it's you and I and many people like us who travel on our own expense around the world, mostly in North America, and try to bring our truth. It's true that most of the people who listen to us, our good audience, and you are the people listening to us right now, but I'm pretty sure that other people listen to us every now and then as well.
I think that part of it was that we are so right. How come all the others don't feel that we are right?
Yeah.
We know that who are the bad guys here and who are the good guys. We don't need to explain ourselves because it's self-evident. It's not self-evident as we understand, and we did not invest enough resources to be out there, especially in American campuses.
Just look at us, relatives of the Muppet Show, and who cannot trust our words?
Yeah, but Neil, this is going to be a major issue.
It is.
And we'll see how the nation is a nation going to address it. The whole Jewish world, there's so much intellect out there, so many skills and so many capabilities. It should be not just an Israeli effort. It should be an effort of all the liberal democracies. And if they don't care, at least the Jewish world has to come together and the people to do the resources in order to, in a way, fight back.
It definitely has to be an interest of the American government, American society, not to allow this cancer spread into American culture.
And the last issue to speak about today is maybe what seems to be going back to the intensity of the conflict and maneuver once again in southern Gaza and take out the last target of Hamas, which is a functioning still target, which is the town of Rafah.
It looks like the Israeli army is making its last preparation to do it. It looks like we are just about to get engaged. There were all kinds of attempts to stop it or slow it down and change it with an agreement of returning some of our hostages kept in by the Palestinians. And it looks like this effort is dying out. It looks like it's not succeeding.
People need to understand that around the world, that through the town of Rafah, coming in from Egypt, which is right on the border, Rafah, there are so many tunnels that all the ammunition and the weapons and the explosives and people and equipment is coming into Gaza through the tunnels that go through the town of Rafah. So it's not the town of Rafah itself, it's the underworld, the whole subterranean city that we're interested in. So yes, hostages may be hidden there, and the last masterminds of Hamas, we'll get each and every one of them, and we'll just put a bullet in their heads eventually. But it's not just that. Because to destroy Hamas without cutting off the lines of supply, we have to do that. The Egyptians were supposed to assist. Why would they? They make such money out of it. So we have to be present along the Gaza-Egypt border. The town of Rafah is not that important. The important thing to see is the border crossing and everything that's under it. We cannot do that without taking the town of Rafah. And maybe we'll have to maneuver in other parts of Gaza as well. Because if you destroy Hamas, but you do not place another, even provisional government to take care of things, they'll come back. So it looks like some parts that we conquered and cleared already, Hamas is coming back, like in Gaza City itself. So maybe another such operation is needed. It looks like it's going this way. We are divided, right? There's no consensus, I guess, in Israel but there was a unanimous vote in the war cabinet that Rafah has to be taken. So it looks like one way or the other, that's going to be the next big episode of the Gaza war.
And most likely the final episode will be to establish some new regime that will control Gaza, that hopefully will be supported by Western civilizations and some part of the moderate Arab world as well.
Well, thank you folks for joining us, and these were the things that we shared with you today. We'll meet again in a few days or a week or two, and we'll keep you posted in the new events in the country and the region. And until then,
may the God of Israel richly bless you all.
Amen.